Hey guys, how you going? Thank you very much for joining me on an adventure. I really appreciate it. This has been a trip I've wanted to do for a couple of years now, and unfortunately, as you can see behind me, this area was really heavily impacted by the fires in 2019 and 2020. But the plan is basically to walk down to a rainforest creek, and I'm hoping, although this is pretty badly damaged up here, I'm hoping that the creek itself was more lightly impacted than the escarpment up here. I've made a bit of a mess of it today. I can tell I haven't been in the bush. I've been sucked into a couple of gullies on the walk in. Wasn't paying close enough attention to the maps, but I'm back on the main ridge and now I've got to head down into this creek. I've probably got about a kilometre or so to go, and I've got to drop about maybe another 100 metres of elevation. So yep, we'll put the backpack on and see if we can go find a nice place to camp. Should be a good one. Cheers guys. Have a look at the size of these grass tree stalks. These are amazing. There's some solid mass to that. I don't often see these plants out here, so it's really cool to see such a large and healthy grove. These have obviously bounded back quite well from the fire. I've never seen such a healthy population of these grass trees before. It's awesome. But I never expected to find the biggest stand of grass trees I've ever seen in my life. It's really cool. They're absolutely everywhere and they're super healthy. It's kind of, yeah, these are my favourite types of adventures. New country, I've never been here before. I've been wanting to come here for a long time, and then finally coming out to explore and finding something awesome. It's just, yeah, it's a really cool part of doing this. So I'm probably only about 100 metres from the creek, and unfortunately it does look like the fire got right in there and has impacted the creek fairly significantly too. So yeah, we'll just have to go down and have a look. As soon as I hit that main spur, it's been pretty easy walking. Apart from mucking about through a few gullies earlier today, the walking's been relatively easy, but it has been quite tricky because of there's quite a thick layer of regrowth on the ground layer. Walking through steep country with lots of grass and fallen timber and rocks, always quite challenging. So I've made it down to the creek, but unfortunately the fire really has ripped through here and really damaged it. And as you can kind of see behind me, the fire damage is quite severe. So yeah, I was hoping this would be a really lush, green rainforest creek, but unfortunately it goes to show just how severe those fires were. Now actually, I have the hammock with me today, so I want a hammock camp. And the creek here looks to be quite steep, and it's quite rocky where I am at the moment, so it's not great for hammock camping. So I've had a look at the maps and the satellite imagery, and it looks like a kilometre upstream there is a series of bends where there might be some flatter, more open areas. So I'm going to walk up and have a look. Now the creek behind me there, it looks looks pretty steep and quite difficult to walk through. So I might actually head up on the ridge on this side, and that'll actually just help cut out some of that travel time. So yeah, let's wander up there and see if we can't find a nice spot to camp. So I'm only about 50 meters from the creek. Right behind me here is some nice, relatively flat grassy ground. So if all else fails, I'll be able to make quite a nice camp here. See, I'm always on the lookout for, where can I pitch up if I can't find that optimal spot that I'm always hunting for. What's a place that's going to make do and be comfortable? So this one's marked in the mental GPS, and yeah, let's go explore a bit further. All right. Well, before I committed to climbing the entire ridge, I'm glad I kind of popped out on the side and had a look, and the creek actually looks quite walkable here. And I've just found an amazing rock with a great view up the creek, and it looks spectacular. So yeah, I'm from feeling a little bit pessimistic when I first got to the creek, I'm now feeling actually really quite optimistic. I walked through a really nice stand of open woodland where I could definitely have a great hammock camp, have a nice fire, and it'd be a pretty cool place to camp. But have a look at this creek. This looks really cool. Big kind of rock slides and a few waterfalls, as you can probably hear behind me. So yeah, I'm just umming and ahhing if I should keep walking up the ridge and just get to where I want to go quickly, or if I want to jump back down to the creek and yeah, walk up and just explore it. Well, I've just started walking up, but I've changed my mind. I'm here to creek walk. I'm going down the creek. Let's do this. So I've made it to the creek, obviously. It's beautiful in here. I'm really having a lot of fun exploring it. What's really surprised me though is that for every 50 meters I climb the creek, it's increasing in about 20 to 30 meters of elevation. So lots of little waterfalls, lots of rock scrambling. It's quite technical walking, so it is taking a lot of time and energy, but it's very enjoyable. Now obviously you wouldn't do this when it was threatening to rain, but the sun is actually coming out, and yeah, it wants to make a nice day today, so I'm having fun. So I'm just taking my time and walking slowly up this creek. It's been really, really nice. It's a lot of fun just to scramble across the rocks and try and figure out the best way across. But I've kind of lost track of time. It's now 4 o'clock and I think it gets dark around 8 o'clock now. So I've probably got at least another hour or so of walking, and then I'll actually want to have a bit of time to set up camp and, well, find a spot to camp firstly, set up camp and then relax as well. So yeah, must get on with it. Unfortunately, I've got through the really steep gorge part, and I think now it looks like it's opening up and becoming more boulder strewn and rocky. So it's going to be actually a little bit more tricky again to walk through this. So I'm getting pretty close to the part of the creek that I was aiming to get to today. I'm about 100 meters or so away from it. What's really awesome here, guys, is that the trees here have not been burnt. So this is going to be a much more natural part of the creek. Well, that might be me. This is certainly the best spot I've seen so far. Just up here, there's a nice flat grassy area with some trees. Should be able to get the hammock in there. Nice sandy bank here. There's a nice pool of water over there. This is unburnt forest. Yeah, this could be me. I'm just going to poke over the other side. I'm on a very small peninsula and the river kind of curves around. I will just poke across the other side, but this looks pretty good. Yeah, this bit hasn't burnt, so should give you guys a nice sense of how magical this place must have been before the fires ripped through here. Awesome to see. Alrighty, so it's about 5 o'clock. I am just walking up a little bit above the bank, and I quite often do this. It gives you a much better perspective of where the campsites might be than when you're walking in the creek itself. So I've just popped up, I'm just having a quick scoot around. I'm actually really enjoying walking through some country that hasn't burnt, at least not as extensively as it had on the walk in. Oh, not gonna lie, I'm feeling pretty tired. It's definitely time to set up the hammock and kick back, crank on the fire, and yeah, have a good old camp. So you can see the fires did actually rip through here too. Obviously you've got the fire darkened trunks and the burnt trunks, but these little black small stumps in the ground are actually from the ferns. So for ferns to burn like this must have been quite a hot fire, and it must have been very, very dry at the time. Alrighty guys, I'm back at the first spot that I showed you. This is basically when I came out of the really steep part of the creek, and I walked a little bit across on the high ground and saw this spot pretty much straight away. It's not a bad spot. I've got 2 excellent hammock trees here, and as far as hammock hanging goes, it's probably not going to get much further than this. I do have a bit of flat ground around camp here, but once I've got the tarp and the hammock set up, all of that space is pretty much going to be gone, and I haven't really got any space here. I can make something work, but yeah, it's not ideal. On the walk back, when I was exploring upstream, I did see another patch of ground. It was a little bit higher, so I'm going to walk back there and just check that out, and then yeah, if I have to make this work, this will be fine. I'll have a good night's sleep here because it's a great spot for a hammock, but it doesn't feel as campy as it could be, so you gotta have a good campsite. Not a bad part of the creek here, so you know, if I have to make this work, I will. It's not the end of the world by any means. It's not too bad, but yeah, I'm going to check one more spot out, and then we'll call it. Alrighty, this is the other spot. I'm kind of probably about 30 metres above the creek here, and I actually have a relatively nice flat open spot here. So this feels a lot more like camp. I've got good clear ground here to make a campfire in a nice safe way. Beautiful view of the creek. Got some tree ferns, and then around me I've got some forest, and I've got plenty of trees just a little way back here where I can make a camp. So assuming that one's strong enough, I can use that. Oh, actually that one's dead, so that's probably not the best one. Actually maybe this big one, where's my finger? There it is. This big one here, and maybe that one over there. Yeah, I think I'm going to make this work. I'm also completely knackered, so I'm not walking any further. Oh, not bad, guys. We'll make this work. What do I want to do first? There's just a massive bull ant here, so I'm going to move my pack over. Hopefully there's no nest. I'll have a quick look around. Where are you, mate, buddy? Oh, I'll leave him alone. Hopefully he leaves me alone. Oh, alright, I'm going to get my hammock set up. The sun's popped out again. I'm going to dig a little fire pit, and then we're going to relax. It's going to be amazing. Oh, I've just spotted a second bull ant. Oh, alright, the sun's popped out again. I've just tweaked my setup, so I'm going to run, you probably can't see it, there's a big tree here, there's a big tree here. I've actually got a view straight down the river. I've had a quick look around and I don't think there's any bull ants here, but I'm going to be in a hammock anyway, so it's pretty low risk. And if needs be, I can kind of move my little sitting area either up there or keep it over there. But anyway, hammock time. So I keep all of my sleeping gear, my hammock, my underquilt, my sleeping bag, all in one big dry bag, and that sits at the bottom of my pack, so I have to take everything out now. Oh, it's a beautiful view down the creek actually. The sun's glistening on it. I think this is going to be a really nice spot. I've had a quick look up top and I can't see any significant branches that would make me uncomfortable. I'll start off with my hammock and get everything else built around it. Now, because I've got quite big trees here, I'm probably pushing my luck and I'll need to extend it with paracord, but I'll just see how it goes first up and then we can adjust. Alright, so I think if I keep the current tree that I've got and then use this small one behind. I think that might actually work better, so I'm going to give that a go. Well, not too bad. I do need to adjust it to make it higher, and I need to probably just flatten some of this grass. But that's going to work pretty well. It's actually really nice in this forest. The sun's coming out, all the birds are being super active. Beautiful view of the creek. This is good. This is exactly what it's about. Oh, I'm smashed. I think that's about as high as I want to go and about as tight as I want to go. I'm going to call that good enough. So I've got a lighter sleeping bag with me today. This is a Rab Neutrino 200. I've had this for a long time. I normally take my other one just because it's a bit more comfortable, but I was just feeling nostalgic, and actually it's not that cold, so I've gone with a lighter option today. This would sleep down to about 0, but it's fairly old, so the down has compressed a bit, I think. So anyway, it's only supposed to get down to maybe 11 degrees tonight. It'll be fine. Alright guys, it's been a long day. I'm tired, but I've got a bit of a fire pit set up here, so I'm actually only, I don't know, maybe 4 meters or so from where my hammock is, but I've got a nice open space here. Now there is a bit of grass around, but the ground is actually very wet, and this grass is all green and it's also wet and damp. I've cleared all the leaf litter away. I've done about a 2 meter radius of leaf litter, but I have no concerns. I've just built a little bit of a wall here I like to use these just in case there's any wind that comes out of the gully, and that'll just help keep the fire contained. But yeah, this forest has recently burned. There's very little leaf litter around, and it's perfectly damp at the moment, so I don't think there's going to be any issues. There's also no fire ban, and there's no park fire ban in this area either, so we're all good. Because it's just clicked over 7, I'm just going to use my trusty fire starter, which is the makeup remover pad dipped in candle wax. I made an absolute bucket load of these, I don't know, a few months ago, so I've got years worth of supply. So you can kind of see you get a lot of fibres in here, and you just rip it open, and that takes a spark nicely. And it should only take one strike. Perfect. I've actually got time, like this will burn for a few minutes, so there's no rush. And you know, everyone has their own fire method. Mine with these starters is very much just to slowly put material on top. Alrighty, we'll let that catch, but that's perfectly fine. Oh, I'm going to put my fire kit back in my my cooking bag, just so I don't lose it. Well, I can definitely say I've earned this. It's a West Coast IPA from Bolter. This one's an absolute cracker. Oh, cheers, guys. Oh. Oh, alrighty, I'm going to enjoy my beer, and then yeah, doing something very different for dinner. I'm doing rice paper rolls. It's going to be a bit of a challenge out here with one fry pan and a plate, but I'm going to give it a go. Alright, well, while I'm being lazy and drinking my beer, I may as well prep some of the food. So yeah, doing rice paper rolls tonight. So yeah, I've got these little food cozies from Ultralight Hiker. They're actually made to keep a instant hiking meal hot, but I think these are great to keep things cold. So yeah, I've got a couple of beers in here, got my veggies. These things work a treat. So yeah, go check out Ultralight Hiker. They're Australian made, you can't ask for much more. So I'm just going to slice up some ginger and garlic and chilli, and then I'll do carrot, capsicum, and I've got some spring onion. And what else have I got? Cabbage, coriander. Yeah, it's gonna be really good. So I've got some spring onion, some garlic, some ginger and some chilli. I'm going to add to that some pork mince. I'm just going to brown that off. Alrighty, it is the moment of truth. Unfortunately, some of my rice paper sheets have not handled up to the hike particularly well, but I will just try to see what I can salvage. I did try and pack them as flat as possible, but yeah, it is they're quite brittle. So if you haven't made these before, this is rice paper. It's just processed rice that's dried very flat and thin, and it goes soft once it's been had some moisture added to it. So I eat these at home all the time. These are fantastic. Very fresh, healthy dinner. It's a little bit harder out here in the bush. Oh god, I'm making a right mess here. Alright, so I've got some rice noodles. I'm going to do some of my mince. I've got some hoisin sauce, so give it that little dollop. And I'll start with my herbs, a little bit of coriander, have some mint. This is super fresh, a little bit of cabbage, a couple of carrots. Now, the trick is going to be to try and get this to fold up and have it slightly edible. Oh dear, it's really look, it's going to be edible, but it's not pretty. Unfortunately, they're all quite cracked. This has not quite worked out as much as I had it pictured in my mind. Off and away. Alright, well, I'm going to persevere. I'll show you what the end result is like. Might be quite disastrous, but you never know. I might be able to salvage something here. Yum! How good do they look? Look at that structural integrity. Absolute winner. Yeah, obviously with cracked rice paper this isn't going to work particularly well. So I'm going to try this again in the future, but it's still going to be absolutely delicious. It's so fresh and zingy and just, yeah, a beautiful meal, but unfortunately I'm losing marks here on presentation. I'm not going to subject you to it, guys. I'm going to make a huge mess here, and I'm going to check in with you guys later. Hey again, guys. I had just started to forget about my disastrous dinner, but for you guys it's probably almost the next clip. Look, it was really, really tasty, but unfortunately, yeah, once those rice papers crack, it's impossible to get any sort of structural integrity in the roll, and it was, yeah, a bit of a disaster. I ended up eating it like a rice vermicelli kind of noodle salad, and that worked really, really well actually, so maybe I should have done that from the start. It's been a really nice night. I've been enjoying just sitting here by the fire, and I probably say that every video, but yeah, for me, this is how I relax. This is my me time. This is the way that I kind of de-stress after a busy period at work or whatever's going on, and some time in front of the fire is time well spent in my view. It's good to be back. It's been, yeah, I think 3 or 4 months since my last video, and yeah, life and work have been busy, so I haven't really had the time or energy to make a video. But yeah, certainly not going anywhere. And as I have time, I'll come out here and make videos like this. So thank you very much for your patience. I've had a few people reach out and ask if everything's okay. Everything's fine, just busy. So yeah, I think that's me done for the night. I'm just going to stare into the fire for a little bit longer, and then crawl into my hammock. I'm actually really looking forward to getting set up in the hammock and nice and comfy. So I think we'll see you guys in the morning. See you guys. So nothing terribly exciting for breakfast this morning. I'm just going to have some cereal. So I've got some milk powder and a bag of cereal. So sometimes the simple and quick things are best. A flat bit of real estate's quite at a premium on this rock. The cereal's certainly no bacon, but it's doing the job. Absolute beautiful spot. This forest is just stunning. I'm so lucky after sort of some of the devastation I walked through yesterday to have found a stand of trees where there's certainly been a fire here at the ground level, but the canopy is still intact, and so it kind of feels much more natural than the really burnt out areas I was walking through before. It's been really nice just to be able to sort of be a part of this place for a short time and kind of, yeah, just watch and listen and learn. So anyway, it's time to pack up, so I'm going to get all my gear squared away. I have actually seen quite a few bull ants this morning as well, and so yeah, I just need to be careful as I'm packing up my gear. What I'm actually going to do, instead of walking back up the creek, I'm actually just going to take the ridge back. I had a look at the maps and I can pretty much follow the creek on the ridge. This is what I was planning to do originally yesterday, and so I think I'll be able to get back to the car in a pretty decent time. So anyway, I've got lots of packing up to. I've made a big mess as always. See you guys soon. Alrighty, all packed up. That was actually pretty efficient. It only took me 20 minutes to pack everything up, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's not bad. I've just done a final check around camp. I've put plenty of water on the campfire and I've dismantled the rocks. So yeah, just making sure I haven't left anything behind. It's actually quite hard sometimes with this grass to see if anything has fallen out of your pack or if you have dropped something. Well, that all looks pretty good. Yeah, so it's nearly 10 o'clock. Probably time to start heading out of here. I reckon it's going to take at least 2 to 3 hours to walk out. The distance isn't all that far, but the climb is a couple hundred meters. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. And then I've got a 3 and a bit hour drive home as well. So yeah, it's a long full weekend when you do one of these trips, but definitely worth it. So yeah, I'm going to walk basically this way and then that way. So let's do it. Alrighty, so I'm just checking my maps now just to make sure I'm on the right spur. It can actually be quite challenging, and I find this quite often. I've talked about it before, where your mental GPS or your mental compass, when you look at maps and you've kind of internally you think you know which way you should go, but it's very easy for that to be off the mark. And yesterday was a good example of that, where on the walk in I actually I wasn't on the main ridge. I thought I was close enough to it didn't matter, but I got sucked into 3 different gullies on the way in, and it really took up a lot of energy and time. And so yeah, I guess I'm just making sure that I am where I need to be. I'm going to take every 5 minutes or so I'm going to take a little just a little reading just to make sure I'm in the right area. But I know if I head directly behind the camera, I'm on a spare, it's very visible, and that'll take me to the main ridge, and then from the main ridge straight down to the creek. I'll cross the creek and then up the other side, and I'll be heading back towards the car. So yeah, I actually I do get a lot of questions about locations and where I am, and you know, where's that river at, where's that camp at, whereabouts are you, Eric? And yeah, I've actually filmed this segment a couple of times but haven't shown it. But in essence, I don't share locations. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is, for me, a big element of doing this is the joy that actually comes from exploring and finding locations for yourself. That's a big part of why I do this. The buzz of, yeah, looking at maps and doing the research and making it all happen is really great. Secondly, with social media these days, there's a huge number of campsites around Australia where there used to be quite you know, small and not really well known about, but because of technology and apps and social media, they're now very, very popular. And whilst I'm certainly not against people coming to the bush, that's definitely not what I'm on about. There is that risk of, you know, some of my videos have got tens of thousands of views, and if only a very small proportion of those people try and come out here and replicate these trips, I'm not sure what their skill level is, and I certainly don't want to encourage people to do this sort of thing without that relevant experience and skills. But secondly, even a relatively small number of people can put quite a significant amount of pressure on an area, and yeah, I'm keen to try and avoid that as best I can. If I'm hiking a well-known area, I'll probably let people know, and I've done that in the past, but yeah, for me, I'm going to keep locations to myself. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense, guys. But I've got a bit more of a climb to do, so let's keep going. Oh guys, have a look at this. This is just beautiful, beautiful wet forest. Tree ferns, lots of grass, beautiful gum trees. Awesome, awesome place. Alrighty, the walk's going pretty well. I do have to be on my toes though to keep this ridge that I want on. The margin of error is pretty small. 50 metres either way and I'll be sucked into a gully that will take me a couple of k's downstream, and I just don't want to be in that space. But now the sun's out too, I need to be careful about snakes. With it being cool last night and now there being sun, I'm sure most snakes, if they're out and about, and you can always have to assume that they are, they're going to be seeking some sunlight to get warm, and because they've been cool overnight, they can be quite lethargic, and I need to pay very careful attention where I'm stepping, which is quite challenging because this is very thick regrowth of grass and trees. But yeah, I'm just keeping my eye out for snakes too. I've seen a few skinks, which has been cool, but no snakes so far, so let's hope that continues. So yeah, behind me I've got a contour around on the top of this ridge, and then I want to basically turn a corner and follow that ridge down, and that'll take me almost exactly to the place where I came out on the creek yesterday, and then straight across the creek and up the other side. So yeah, we're doing well, but just paying very close attention to my navigation. Oh, far out. So I made it to the top of the first climb. That was brutal. That's just so steep. Oh. The sun's popped out, so it's a little warmer now, but there's a decent breeze, so savage. Lots of climbing left, unfortunately. I haven't made it very far. Just have a look at the regrowth here, it's absolutely crazy. in another year or two, this is going to be completely unwalkable. It's going to take a long time for these trees to compete, establish themselves, and then the others die down. But yeah, it's pretty incredible to see the aftermath, really. I think I'm going to stop the video here. I've got about 1.5 kilometers or so left, and I'm kind of reaching that point of the day now where I want to put the camera away and yeah, pack it down and just get this done, because I am pretty tired after the climb in and out of the creek. But yeah, just want to say a big thank you to you. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing to the channel if you like this content. There's more coming. I've got an awesome 5-day trip coming up in the next couple of months. It's going to be, if you go back to the first ever video on my channel, it's going to be a little bit something like that. So, but obviously I've got some more know-how now in terms of filming, so hopefully much better quality, and should be a great adventure. My mate Alex and his wife Naomi are coming down for that, so it should be a lot of fun. And yeah, if you wouldn't mind giving the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, or if you have any questions or comments, please drop one of those below. This is actually the first time I have only used my main camera. The GoPro has stayed in the bag, and so yeah, the video might look a little bit different. I'm hoping there's going to be a better audio and video quality as a result. Hope it will also make my edit a lot shorter, because I'm not trying to mix and match 2 different SD cards full of video footage. But yeah, it's possible. I've been trying to jiggle the settings a little bit, and yeah, it's possible I kind of mucked a few things up. So hopefully it's good footage. And yeah, I think that's it. So from the awesome Aussie Bush, we'll see you next time. Cheers, guys.